What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Automotive Training News with your host, Mr. Richie Bello. I'm your co-host, Eric Nichols. Today, we have Mr. Brian Maxwell, National Sales Trainer for Sales Professionals of America, recruiting back on for round number 2. We also have David Castillo, as always, with us, the Director of Veteran Affairs for the Richie Bello Institute of Leadership and Management, back with us by Skype. What's going on, Brian?
Appreciate you guys having me back on, and looking forward to the end of the year and getting 2020 rocking and rolling.
So for those of you who just tuning in, Brian was on the show with us about a month ago. We invited him back because, as we said at the last show, Brian is so full of knowledge and sales skills over his 20, 30-year career of training that we could have sat there for hours and had a discussion. So guess what? We're doing round 2.
Round 2.
So, Brian, since last we spoke, I've seen that you've gone to a lot of dealerships and you've done a lot of stuff you've done. I've seen it. We talked every now and then back and forth as you're on the road, as I'm on the road, as I'm always doing something, and you're always doing something. So tell me, what has changed since last we spoke?
Man, really a lot. I had some awesome breakthroughs as far as on the training side. We implemented some new techniques to help the employees or the team members be able to absorb information. And actually, we've implemented some closing techniques that are really blowing dealerships away, that are helping sales professionals double up on their sales and increase their closing percentage by as much as 20 and 30%. So a lot of awesome things going on as far as on the training side. Constantly, always be closing is one of the key phrases, but always be learning is one of the things that I like to go by. So ABL has been the biggest thing as far as the implementation, and just the results have been just astounding.
Awesome. Listen, Brian, last month we spoke about prospecting, taking you up, doing follow-up with the customer. Today we want to discuss what we believe is probably the most appropriate topic for this time of year. And that's the year-end sales events, and why now is the best time to buy. So what are your thoughts on that, my friend?
Well, the public opinion is that the end of the year is the best time to buy. And as you all both know, being involved in the industry like we are, people they get the best rates. Stores are trying to move product off the lot to make way for the new stuff. But one of the misconceptions that a lot of salespeople have in their mind is that for some reason they think people don't buy in December because of Christmas. And that couldn't be anything further from the truth. There's a reason why corporate America implemented Black Friday the day after Thanksgiving, because something about our human psyche, once we get through Thanksgiving, we mentally go into buy mode. And so in all of the dealerships I've been in over the last few weeks, you see those beautiful cars and trucks and SUVs with the bows on top. So right now is an awesome time for customers to go in there and to possibly be able to walk out with even better options financially than what they, may have gotten earlier in the year. So the biggest push for why consumers want to go in there, A, it's the Christmas season. Everybody's in much better spirits, right? B, you get an opportunity to take advantage of an option, a vehicle option that may work best for you at a very, very fair price option. And number 3, what better way to end off the year than to treat yourself? I always tell people, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. If you have the opportunity and the resources to go out there and enjoy some of these awesome new technical advances on these vehicles and the features and the things that have just been mind-blowing, now is the time to rush into those stores and take advantage of these end-of-year closeout opportunities that's available.
I just said that, I'm in a lot of stores' mailing list because that's what I do. I go in at this time of year and see how proactive they are. Let me tell you something. I'm about to share something with you. None of the stores that I've seen, that the ones that are not doing a lot of business and are always like complaining and there's no traffic, are promoting Cyber Monday. I got bombarded with AutoNation, Penske, and Lithia. okay, all three of them hammered me on Cyber Monday. It started that Friday, right, with a coupon. Don't forget Cyber Monday. There's nobody doing that. Guys, listen, there's 2 sales days. There's the Black Friday and then the Cyber Monday. Bombarded. They bombard, and you want to know something? They got this technology, because when I clicked, and I do it purposely, I click in their image for Cyber Monday for that coupon, and when I went into Facebook, I knew it was a remarketing ad because it said that ad choice that Facebook has. I mean, let me tell you something. They have some technology or a company doing, I don't know who it is, but I was getting retargeted all day long. And I went, because that's part of, like you say, always be learning. Well, that's what I do. I do the learning part, and I see which stores are on their game. What is a good consultant? A good consultant is nothing more to take this guy's success and bring it to this other guy. That's all it is. Right. If you can observe, you move stuff around, so you can make a market move around. And I couldn't believe that none of the stores out here, or none of the stores in Ohio and different areas I'm in too, where I've been looking for a car, I got no email from Cyber Monday. Unbelievable.
One of the biggest reasons why you probably didn't get the email, Richie, is that, when I'm going out and I'm lecturing these stores and I'm doing observations prior to going in, and y'all know this, do you know how many times a person comes and leaves and nobody ever gets a contact number to be able to text any information or to email information, or is asked too soon in the process? And we know what happens when it's asked too soon. A wrong number is given out, or a wrong email. Why? Because they're afraid of being bombarded. And so I recently just got through talking with the general manager of a store who will remain unnamed, who spent $80,000 in October to bring in one of those traveling sales teams that was supposed to, generate all of these deals. Do you know how many sales they got? 8. And so as opposed to spending the money on getting with a guy like you, because the program that you all offer for dealerships for the marketing by far is one of the most reasonable, most effective, and best options that a dealership could have. But they don't want to spend that money because they feel it's unknown, but they went and dropped $80,000 on this outside organization that came in with all of these kind of riffraff salespeople and only sold 8. You talk about a bad way to end off the year. I mean, that general manager's sweating bullets right now and hoping that he doesn't see that pink slip before the first of the year. But these are the type of things that's going on, as opposed to doing the grassroots internal, marketing, where they taking people who have came in, submitted information for their store, linking up with an organization or with people who know what they're doing, like you, like the guys at ShopSmart, and allowing you to do the heavy lifting for them. That is just a foolproof way to generate business. They're kind of taking this, throw it against the wall and let's see what stick approach. And we're talking about $80,000 in 1 month. Richie, can you imagine what they could have did with that $80,000 if they would have went ahead and utilized your program and your services?
Not too long ago, about a week ago, I had a go-to meeting with this dealership. They came off from spending $60,000, so we put them with ShopSmart, all that. So we're in the process of doing the implementation with them, right? So we guaranteed them $35 per lead, because he says, I'm tired of all these other systems I got to pay. I says, listen, I have a great solution. Just pay me per lead. Some stores don't even want to pay you per lead. It's like amazing. You're giving them the lead. You don't owe me nothing until this lead comes in. Right. And here's the problem. Stores have people inside their dealership that think they know. They think they know marketing. They think they know what they're doing, and they want to save the money. The other day I saw a dealership that I know very well doing Facebook ads, Do you want to know something? It hit me, that Facebook ad. I don't buy cars. I'm not anywhere. They're taking anything that Facebook says I'm in the market for a car. Now, do you know how Facebook knows I'm in the market for a car? If I go to the marketplace, now there's a trigger saying that I'm in the market for a car. That's it.
Oh my God.
No, really, that's it. So now they have all this data saying Richie Bello's in the market for a car. I'm always on Marketplace. That's why I'm always getting bombarded with ads. And I look at the dealers that are using Facebook and the guys that think they know what they're doing. These guys are internal guys that want to create their Google AdWords, that want to create this and all that. And it's a waste. Don't even do it. You know what? Stop wasting your money. Hire yourself a professional. You know, just they only do that to look good and try to protect their job and try to get a little bit more from the dealer. But you know what? When you fail on it and you're not selling no cars, you're just shotgunning. You're gonna sell cars, but you're not gonna be as effective. Okay.
Right. Or
when you use registration and title data, I want you to hear this: registration and title data, which means Richie Bello registered a Honda Accord with a title under his name. He's in the market for a car when his registration's up, based on his auto loans, based on his lease, and based on his behavior. They don't do that. So they want to do it themselves. And you know what? It's like, you know, IHS has always had a list for do-it-yourself people. These do-it-yourself people, when they buy a car and they want to fix their own car, they go to the parts department. Half the time, they don't know what they're doing, right? So it's the same way in marketing. Everybody wants to do it themselves. Nobody wants to pay marketing.
Well, speaking about marketing, you know, Brian, you hit on a key point before about dealerships spending big money during the month of December. So you'll probably agree with me with this, and I know, Rick, you would definitely agree. You know, most dealerships in the month of December, and this isn't everyone, but majority of them fall within two categories of mindset. Either A, December's garbage and we can't do anything. It's the end of the year. We're not going to do anything and don't spend the money. Or there's the dealers, like you said, that are doing some kind of $80,000, $100,000 gimmick that's not proven. You're right. Go back. Go into your data from unsold customers you've had in the showroom for the last 60, 90, 120 days. I just did that for a sales event last week. I put it together in a day. We got another 11 deals that we normally wouldn't have gotten just from going through the data. I know Richie's a big proponent of going through the data that you have. Guys, I don't know how many times we can stress this. If someone walks into your dealership, and this isn't even for, you know, just the salesperson, managers. This goes for everyone in your dealership who works there, going from the lot kid to the porter to the tech to the advisor to everyone. If someone walks into your dealership, they're looking to buy a car. Prime example. Yesterday, you know, I watched a customer come in that most people would have thought, oh, you know, she's nasty. Nobody wants to deal with her. The salesman dismissed it, didn't really want to deal with her, didn't want to do anything else. The customer picked up on it, came back in, looked at the manager and says, I don't know what, I want to deal with someone else's. We just don't fly together. So we found another sales rep to sit with that woman. Within 20 minutes, this woman who nobody wanted to deal with came in with the biggest smile on her face, happy, looking around. Guys, they're there to buy cars. It's on you to find out and make that connection, and more importantly, find the objective of why they don't want to buy from you. I always say, I was always taught, and I always say this, if you don't sell, if a customer does not buy a car from you, majority of the reason is it's something that you did wrong, or you didn't find out what their hot button was. What do you think?
Right. I agree wholeheartedly. My thing, I always say, if a person has an interest in a specific vehicle and it fits within the budget and they don't buy, I believe it's just because they really don't understand what's going on. And let me back it up a little bit while we go back into as far as with the data and going through and utilizing the information. Richie has said something as far as with the internal guys, because these internet, there's some awesome internet managers and internet directors that are from the business. They know what they're doing, but they very rarely have input on the marketing material that's going out, on the strategy that's going out. They get this person that comes out of a college or uses all these fancy words that the executive team may not understand. They say, this person is on the ball. when little do they realize writing copy, and not just writing copy, but writing effective copy for our industry that stimulates people to take action, that's critical, number one. So when they're throwing out stuff saying, hey, come on in and get this $500 free gift, well, guess what? People they've been using that for years. So when they come in, they know the game. That's all they want. But when you're working with people who have a real interest in a specific vehicle option, from light all the way up to heavy, the odds of you being able to get that person to be willing to come in solely relies on the quality of the copy that you have either in your video or on your text ads or whatever you want to use. Now, the kicker is when they get there, how does the ball get dropped? Do you all know that there are two questions? Really one, I'll talk about one, that I've seen in all of my research and all of my years that really disrupts and destroys most sales before they even get started. And it's also the main reason why people believe folks in our industry are pushy. And it is the question of, can I help you? It's like you just said. You said when people show up to the dealership, they're not coming to buy clothes. They're not coming to buy ice cream. As a matter of fact, for them to wake up, get dressed, make rights, make lefts, and pull into that lot, a lot of things had to happen for them to show up. And with the internet now and everybody having many computers in their pocket, man, they do all of the research and are looking to see who's got what the price are before they leave their house. So when they show up on that lot or in that showroom, they're no longer in shopping mode. They're no longer in thinking mode. They are in action mode. They're in action mode. And what happens? The sales rep walks up and they ask this one question, which is, can I help you? Now, here's the kicker. And some people listen or watch and may say, well, Brian, that's a standard greeting. And it is one of the worst greetings in retail, not just automotive industry, but period. But in the automotive industry, we're the slowest to adapt to change. So let's think about it. When a sales rep walks up and says, can I help you? Immediately, they just ask this customer a close-in question. And we know what most people say under those type of situations. No, I'm just looking. No, I'm good. So now anything that sales rep does after that is infringing on this person's privacy. You asked them, can you help them? They told you no, but now you want to follow behind them like a stalker, or you want to just, keep bothering their privacy and asking them questions, and you're pissing them off. When in reality, it's all about how we go up and we greet somebody. In the front of people's doors of their houses, there's a mat, and on that mat it says welcome. Why? Because we want the individual to feel as comfortable as possible as quickly as we can. Now, these folks coming into the dealership, their defenses are on high. Their parents, their grandparents, or maybe their own personal situations, they are expecting to be bombarded or either ignored. And so when we approach, say, can I help you? They say, no, I'm just looking. You're done outside of that until they are ready to talk to you or they're jumping in their car. Now, the kicker is this. We know most managers say, don't let the person leave the lot until we at least shake their hand or meet them. So short of jumping on this person's back and holding them there, there's nothing you could do. When in reality, how we approach and introduce ourselves is, to me, one of the most important parts of the entire process, because we only get one chance to make a first impression. So as opposed to saying, can I help you? How you doing? What happened to the old ways of just welcoming somebody to our dealership? Hey, welcome to ABC dealership. I'm Brian, and you are? And when they give a name, just ask, hey, do you mind if I jot that down? I just want to make sure I give you the utmost respect. And I'm terrible with names. You here to see anybody in particular? Is this your first time to ABC dealership? Oh, it's your first time. Thank you so much for coming out, and congratulations to you. You made an awesome choice. Now, which one of our vehicles would you like some information on? And then from that, well, I'm interested in the 2018 this or 2020. Awesome. Well, as you can see, we got several options. Let's do this. Follow me inside. I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and I'll get you all the information on what you feel works best. Let's go. So in most situations, it started off on the wrong foot, and the sales rep spends the next hours or 2 hours backpedaling from the horrible way that we introduced or approached this person. And so, again, it comes from not putting the cart in front of the horse, keeping the main thing, number one, getting the right people in the store. Because then we can get 1,000 people to come into a dealership. If it's a Toyota store and we get 1,000 people in there that like Ford, no matter how skilled we are, we're probably not going to do that well. But if we get 100 people who have a light to a high interest in, let's say, Nissan, and even though it's only 100 versus that 1,000, the odds of us being able to capitalize and make money is stronger in that 100 than in the 1,000. So it's the quality rather than the quantity. And so we end up trying to save money by not dealing with a gentleman like Richie or yourself or myself. They actually end up costing themselves more money in the long run, and in many times costing themselves a job. I spoke to a GM 2 days ago who's been unemployed for 4 months. And when you go from making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month to being unemployed for 3 or 4 months, because your lifestyle goes up, you start rethinking things, and you start realizing, like, man, maybe I should be more open to a Richie Bello as far as with their marketing program with ShopSmart. I should be more open to a Brian Maxwell coming in to staff up my team and train them. So it all goes back to fundamentals in marketing and in sales, and just utilizing what you got and making the best of what you got.
Here's what I've noticed, Brian. When you go through basic trading and you have a salesman that sticks with the basics, I've seen those guys do 20, 25 cars consistent.
Yeah.
When they get out of that basics, when you forget the basics, okay, and you go the other way, that's when you're on the spiral down. Okay, yep. So, Mr. Dealer and Mr. Sales Manager, today there's a solution for that. You hire yourself a guy like Brian that's unbelievable, one of the best trainers that I've seen out there in a very long time, because I've seen him in action already. Okay, watch what happens. You have an online training platform, which Brian does, right? Now that's consistent training. You monitor your salesperson's training and also monitor your trainer's training, and now you're able to take both things, come up with data, and say, all right, is this working or is this not working? Yeah. Today, it's not that easy to fire a trainer because we have the data, right, in front of us. We got Lightspeed, we got whatever we got. Any system we're using, that's today. Okay. Dealer, the cure is keep your guy basic. When you go into a store, they qualify you, and that doesn't mean credit qualify. I mean qualify them on the right car and the right choice. Land them on the car, demo them, do the trial close based upon what we shared today. Mr. Jones, would this be the vehicle you would like to own? That customer tells you yes, great. Do the service walk. When you do the service walk, you introduce, hi, this is Brian. He's going to be your service advisor. When you come in for service, boom, you planted a seed. You go to the showroom, now you introduce them to the receptionist. Every time you call to make an appointment, Mr. Customer, this is Joanne. She's going to be making the appointment for you. Boom. That's planting. When you bring them to the desk, to your desk, to try to put a deal together, bang. Right? Yep. You got a better shot of closing them. Is it going to work 100%? Of course not. But do you got a better shot than if you say, can I help you? Put them in the car, give them just the numbers and let them walk? Absolutely. You got a better shot. I've noticed at negotiations, right, they give them a number. The customer goes down $50. I've seen it in my face 10 times a day. The salesman gets up and goes to the desk. Instead of saying, Mr. Jones, with your finger, how close can you come to this number?
Exactly.
How close can you come to this number? As you're leaving that desk and launching to the desk, in 10 minutes, the only thing that's going on is this. This guy or this lady is taking advantage of us. Yeah. Yep. That's it. And they don't know how to come up with nothing else. You know, Mr. Jones, I agree with you that this is your budget, but let me ask you a question. How close can you get to this number? Mm-hmm. Or up to and no more than the best one, and forget about the up to, the best one that I use all the time is, and you put the point of finger, how close can you get to that number? Because if they're looking at that and they're looking at your finger, you're in control. And you know what? They want the vehicle. It's not, I hear this, we're far away, can we split that payment? What are you doing? You're costing yourself thousands. I feel like getting my head and blowing it. I feel like one day going to the showroom and getting an enemy and blowing my head right in front of everybody. Instead of just that process, how close can you get to this number? Because in actuality, they're just asking you, okay? That's all they're doing. So put that in back of your head and work the deal with how close can you get to that number. And once they say, I got to be at this number, well, how'd you arrive at that? You want to find out if it's a budget, if it's a car, or if it's down payment. No, I have to be at my budget at 3. Now you spin it back and you say, well, all you got to do is come up with another $3,500 down.
Right.
That's working a customer.
Yep.
All you got to do, Mr. Jones, is come up with $3,500 down. And that's it. Well, I don't have that right now. They move themselves back up to that. It's working the deal. The worst thing you do as a salesperson is get up from that desk when the desk sends you a number in 5 minutes when that you think you have an offer. Forget about that. There ain't no offer, because when you come back, they're thinking, and when you come back and bump them a little bit, $10, they're walking away, because now they say, if he could have done that, why did he do it from the get-go? You see? Yep. So it doesn't matter. You're being set up by the customer to lose and lose only. You're not going to win with that process by going to the desk. You're not going to work. Now, if you turn every stone at that desk and you wear down that customer, the wear down effect, you wear them down, when you get up and you come back, you have a deal. But not when you do it in 5 minutes. And let me make everybody aware, it's not getting up. It's how long you took in getting up, and did you turn every stone? Did you plant every seed for them to take the car now? Not today, now. No. That's key. And that's what the problem is. The more deals are dying at the salesman's desk, anything, they know how to take a customer into a car. They know how to put the car. They know the start. But when it comes to wrapping the deal up and execute it and earning for you and earning for the dealership and earning for the customer, that's when they lose it. That's where the problem is. The problem is they're getting up right away, and I see it on and on. I have a store I go to and see 8 deals out on the table, and I watch. Within 5-10 minutes, the salesperson gets up. They need training on working the customer, turning every stone, and knowing when they can ask for the business. For you to ask for anything, you have to earn it. Now, you know how I am. I come from the earning school. I'm just not going to say, Brian, this. No, I earned to ask you that. Well, it's about earning it. And when people try to close a deal in 5 minutes by getting up and selling price, not interested. Because when you sell price, you're going to have to go get another job because you're not making money. And the dealership's going to close down. So you guys got to understand, stop selling that price and start adding value and working the customer and pointing. It's so easy. Also, the other thing, I see when they start talking about a deal and they talk themselves out of the deal. There's only one way. I tell you a number, 18.5. There's silence about 30 seconds. What I'm doing is I'm taking out the buyer's order. Brian, who are we registering the vehicle under?
There we go.
Assumption closed. Assume the sale. Right then and there. The last one that speaks. You know what? I'm taking the buyer's order, putting it there. Who are we registering the vehicle under? And start writing. Some people need to be pushed. And you know what? Those salespeople that say, I don't like to be pushy. Really? Well, guess what? They're going to bump into a guy like me down the street, and I'm going to be pushy. And you know when you're going to follow them up? The next time they're in the market for a car.
Well, let me just...
That's bottom line.
Let's go to this. So essentially, Brian, we essentially have around 20 days left till the end of the year. So this year is completely over and we go to 2020. You know, what would you tell a salesman to right now to better prepare themselves for, you know, the most important sales time of the year is the last week between Christmas and New Year's, to really make an impact and close out their year strong? What advice, what tips, what word tracks do you have?
Process would be everything. And like Rich said, for the most part, you know, when a person comes in, if they're at a fairly professional store, they get it down as far as on how to greet, put them in the seat, find out what's going on, take them out and even show them the vehicle. But where the bottom falls out is after that demonstration drive, when the customer comes back, we all know all of the conversation and the laughing and the kikiing, all of that stuff changes after that demo drive when it's time to sit down, because now they are going to get what they came for. If they could have avoided all of the demo drive and all those questions and just got the numbers, the customer would have done that. So now they get what they come for and they all brace because they're waiting for this big boom to hit. And the first thing I recommend is that every salesperson become familiar with the term pattern interrupt. A sales pattern interrupt. That's where you take something that everybody's used to doing and you deviate from it. Now, the reason why that's important, because it kind of discombobulates the other person where they say, I don't really know what's going on, what's happening here. Let me give you an example. Knowing that after a demonstration drive, if you held the door open for your customer, they would beeline it right back to that desk where y'all were sitting at talking before you left out. And that's where their defensive wall shoots up 10 feet high, 3 foot wide, because this is where they do battle and negotiate. Well, as opposed to going right back to that seat, man, don't wait until after the deal is done to give them a tour of the service department. You want to do that in advance. And this is where you can really utilize the assumption clauses there. So as opposed to you hold the door open and walk and say, hey, listen, John, Sue, follow me this way. I want to give you all the tour of the service department. So that way, when it's time for you to bring your vehicle in and get it serviced, you know exactly where you're going to bring it to. You know, we have 24-hour key drop. We have shuttle services. We do have free Wi-Fi. We have our condiments here. We have da-da-da. You want to introduce them to a service advisor. Here, this is Jan. This is Bill. These are two of our awesome service advisors who will help you when you bring your vehicle in. Introduce them. You know, give them a brief tour of the dealership if you hadn't done that already. Then sit them down. The reason being is this. If you've ever been upset with somebody before and they've come in and they've apologized to you, or they thanked you for something, or they made you laugh, you may still be upset, but you're not as upset as you were. And so when you take a guest who is bracing himself for this battle back and forth for these numbers, and as opposed to that, you are still treating him or her like a king or a queen. You're giving them a tour. You're introducing them to people, showing them how important they are to you, that you're willing to do the little things in a big way. So when they're shaking hands and, you know, being welcomed and being thanked for coming in, now when they go to sit down, will that wall still be there? Yes. But as opposed to 10 feet high, might only be 8 foot high. As opposed to 3 foot wide, might only be a foot and a half wide. The objective is to get them to lower their defensive wall low enough to peek over into their backyard and see what's going on. And now when we sit them down, people just want to go straight to the lowest number they can. Why? Because they believe that's what everybody wants to hear or see. And that may be true, but in sales, you have to set the stage. If I show a person a price at 36 months for $1,200, don't you believe when I show them that number at 60 months and it may be $845, that's going to seem a whole lot better than the $1,200? Of course it is. And if you are really customer focused, you want to make sure that you leverage the shorter terms and explain those first, because the shorter the term, they save more money on finance fees. They get a chance to pay the vehicle off quicker. They build equity in it much sooner, and they get that title free and clear, which is cash in the form of a piece of paper. You can sell it, trade against it, take a loan out against it. Where reps are coming out, going with the lowest number with the highest term first, and then where do you go from there? Now you just made it that much harder on the banks. You really just made it that much more difficult for your customer, because they're going to have it longer, build less equity in it, and pay it off much later than they would have if you'd introduced one of these shorter terms, which may seem uncomfortable. But if you are truly a professional, you owe it to this person to provide them with all of the information and let them make the best educated decision for them. And if you've done a good job of intelligence gathering and rapport building, you'll have an idea of where they want to be. And so my biggest thing is don't be afraid of the numbers. It is what it is. But if you do a good job of education, I believe that it minimizes the need for negotiation. The reason why people want to negotiate heavily, unless they're from a specific culture like in India, where that's just the way business is done, many times the person doesn't want to sit there and haggle and go back and forth. They just don't feel that the product is worth what it is you're asking. And what creates that? It's the experience. It's the individual. It's where they educated. Did they feel important? Did they feel welcome? Do they feel like this person was genuinely trying to help them make a smart, safe buying decision, or just trying to sell them something and get them out of there as quickly as possible? So at the end of the year, I would say slow down. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And this misconception that everybody just wants to get in and get out quick is bull. You know what? Because it's the second largest purchase next to buying a home. So if I'm investing 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 or more in some of these different dealerships, you better believe I'd appreciate this person treating me as if they appreciate me being there, giving them the opportunity to earn my business. You better believe these people want to be educated. You got to believe they want to be wowed. Yes, it's a dealership, and a lot of people believe that going to buy a vehicle is painful. But it doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. It should be painless. It should be enjoyable. But that is all up to us. If you're expecting a guest to walk in and say, "Hey guys, I got $7,000 in my pocket, want to pay $800 a month, and I'm ready to do a credit app," it'll never happen. But if you realize it is our responsibility to take this person from here and take them higher, we have to know that a person's energy level will always match or be lower than ours. A customer's energy level and enthusiasm will never supersede yours. So you have to realize that where you are, they're going to be with you or a little bit lower. And so if your typical person starts off on 10, you better get it to 20. And you got to be energetic, enthusiastic, not over the top, not fake, but genuinely excited, because this person could have been anywhere else in the world, but they're at your store giving you the opportunity to earn their business. And I hope we all realize that it becomes another car deal for us inside those walls. But for them, man, it could be the first vehicle they're buying after getting married, after a divorce, having a new baby, getting out of the military. It could be a number of things that they could have been paying fried chicken finance for the past 4 years, a buy here, pay here lot. Now they built their credit up to the point where they can walk into a really nice dealership and do business and take advantage of some of the better options. So slow down. Keep the main thing, which is that consumer. It is our responsibility to help them make a smart, safe buying decision. It's not us against them. It's a partnership. So even simple things like when you sit at your desk, you don't have to sit directly across from them, letting that table be the barrier. Angle that chair off a little bit more slightly towards their side than you are against them. Because sales is psychological, and people buy 90% based off emotion, and we back it up with 10% logic. And most of our communication is nonverbal. So moving that chair over slightly towards their side, having that smile, learning how to lighten up the voice and using that tonality, and utilizing pattern interrupts. As opposed to rushing to that desk to do those numbers, man, take that person on a tour. Introduce them to the advisor. And this will be an excellent time to stop by the business manager's office on the way back to your desk to introduce them to a manager if you haven't done so already. Now, it seems like you're just really giving them the A+ treatment, which you are, but you're also allowing them to meet different people that they may have to engage with later. And if they've had the opportunity to meet and be introduced to them earlier, it makes it that much easier for them to communicate and to help you move your customer to the next step later. So just slow down and just keep that consumer.
And I'm glad you said that. You know what? I'm glad you said that about the A1 treatment. Because here's the thing, right? Disney, okay? When you go to Disney, they treat you like a king. Disney has the highest retention of anything in the world.
Yep.
What? In the world, okay? No joke, the retention they got. You know why? Because they treat you with red carpet. Mr. Dealer, if you treat your customers with red carpet, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to come back like in a boomerang, and then when they leave, they're going to promote the experience. What I mean about promoting the experience, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. But dealers, here's the problem you have. You might have a Rolls-Royce showroom, okay? You got a guy like Eric Nichols. You got guys like El Patron. You got guys that know how to do it. What happens when that customer goes to service? I got news for you. I know a dealership that has the worst reviews, great sales process. I would refer customers there all the time. But in service, they're always complaining. Guess what? Service customers buy cars.
Yep.
The worst. And you know what? There's groups out on Facebook that you can search them. Customers are making groups about these dealerships. I mean, dealerships, you think, ha, 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 all the giggles. Go on and search the names of your own dealership and search where you're at. Because you want to know something? If you don't make it a Rolls-Royce experience, your marketing dollars are going to drop. You invest in training. What happens is you make it a Rolls-Royce treatment and you treat people like red carpet. Guess what? They're going to come right back to you. Yep. Not only that, I had such a great experience. They say that when you sell a car, you're going to get 3 referrals. Let me tell you why they say that. I always went, Brian, by the fact is, they say that? Well, why? What's the why? I'm very big with the whys. You know why? Because I pull up to my driveway and my neighbor says, Richie, what a nice car. Where'd you get that car? Oh, I got it at Apple. My plate frame's on it. Now he knows. So that's why they say that. I park it in the town store or at the town restaurant where I always go and I know people, right? Now, the people that see me, hey, Richie, that's a nice car, blah, blah, blah. That's what they mean about 3 referrals. What happens when you're promoting, you're driving your car, say, I got this car, but let me tell you, when I got this car, it was really a nightmare. I wish I didn't get it. Now, what happens to you? You think you're going to get a referral? So dealers, get your experience next to none. Get your experience to the customer like red carpet. But when that customer comes in service, you better make sure that it's integrated with your sales department.
Yeah, it should be one.
The problem is service is in a different world and sales is a different world. Some service managers not together with the sales manager, internal bullshit, whatever, the politics of a dealership. Let me tell you, not today. You can't do that because you know what's going to happen to you today? You will lose your customer base. And yes, don't worry, I'm going to sell cars. Let me tell you what. There's 1.2 million consumers in the market every month, plus new car buyers, people that have never bought a car in their life. So you're always going to have a high volume, but are you effective? Right. Is your ROI good enough? Or are you spending, like you said, $80,000 in that dealership? Why? Because he didn't have a good process with his previous customers and with the experience. Promote your experience. Instead of spending 60, 70 grand on marketing and not doing anything anyway because your reputation is so bad. These stores, I mean, it's so bad. The service department, I can't even tell you how many people are out there complaining about these stores.
Well, that's always something we can get. That's a whole nother topic we can spend another third episode with you on.
No, but there's a training solution for that topic. Here's the problem, right? That what we're saying, there's a solution for it. You hire a guy, Brian, for the front.
Yep.
And you hire a guy, Fairchild. It's not about saying it. It's about actually we have a solution in our business model about it where we migrate both of them. Yep. Together. So you know what? I hate that this is happening, but we have the solution. We have Brian, Fairchild,
John, yeah.
and Brandon, which Brandon is the best at human resource.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he knows how to hire people. It's about hiring. What's your hiring process in a dealership? They got none. That's what it is. No, what's your hiring process? Oh, no, I don't have any hiring process. They go to Indeed, blah, blah, blah. Whoever comes in, and if they're having a sale on a Friday, and that guy comes on a Friday, guess what? The guy's starting right away.
Well, that's what gets me with whole nother topic, but this is my feelings on that. We have in the auto industry, we stress upon qualifying the customer. So why are you not doing the same with the people that are talking to customers? Why are you not qualifying these people better instead of just saying, we need a body, training class starts next week, great, you're in it. Again, gentlemen, that's a whole nother episode. We have about 5 or 6 more episodes with you.
It's really, we have a solution. It's not about an episode or nagging on a dealership. And we're only saying that, Mr. Dealer, because we have a solution.
Yep.
For you. We're not saying that to rag on you. We're making you aware of what it is, and please contact myself at 631-578-9018. We'll do a free assessment on human resource and whatever you guys need. And, we have a solution.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is your other competitors are going to put you right out of business. And you don't have to call me, but I know which dealers you are, and what I'll do is when your competitor hires me, I'll make sure I eat up all your market share. That's what I'll do. No, that's what I'll do. You don't have to hire me, but when somebody in your market calls me, I am going to make sure, and it's going to cost me money, but I'm going to just to show you something, what I can do. I want to make sure I eat your entire market share. Really.
That's right.
Because, it's so dumb. Brian, it was great seeing you. See you real soon. Oh, Brian, I wanted to ask you a question. That new book you got is amazing. Do you figure out the title yet of the book? You were telling me about the book.
I just got to respond. Mike Lewis actually gave me some awesome ideas that totally shifted the way I was going about it. I actually was messaging with Mike the other day. Awesome that you introduced him and I. I'm looking forward to becoming that #1 bestseller. Going to be setting up some interviews with Mike to get the book done after the first. But I have the skeleton outline, but I had to redo the whole thing because it's coming out for general managers, dealer principals, as opposed for the sales rep. It's geared totally towards managers, how to hire, how to train, how to just implement certain practices better. So I'm looking forward to working with Mike Lewis. And if anybody has the opportunity and looking for the book out, please reach out to Richie Bello. Let him connect you with Mike Lewis, because this man has worked with Tom Hopkins, some of the big hitters, El Patron. He's doing his book now, and his information was just mind-blowing. So we're putting it together, and it will be out by spring or summer of 2020.
Be at the conference.
Yeah.
All right, look forward to it, man.
All right, brother. Take care. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Brian, you gave us a lot of great content. You gave us a lot of great content and key points to think about when it comes to training. As always, we appreciate your time today and coming on to the show. And from Richie and myself, we always want to say it's a pleasure and thank you for coming on. Now we go to one of my favorite people in the world, my favorite person to talk to every week, Mr. David Castillo, Director of Veterans Affairs, the Richie Bell Institute. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Thank you for the love. Glad to be back, guys.
Good.
So, David, just let me tell you where we're at. We got the video set. We had Brandon and John Fairchild. So that's going to be the start of something going on. I plan on doing some videos with my friend over here, Eric. All right, which is very good. And also Brian Maxwell. And I also have Fran Taylor joining us. So we're going to have a lot of content, but for the most part, we already started building our landing pages. We already starting building certain things for social media, and we plan on hitting the marketing aspect for veterans, not for dealers yet, for veterans as of next week.
Correct.
Right, so that's what we're doing, and we're so pleased that this is happening. And looking forward to this product and all that, and it's great. What are your thoughts? What have you done out there? And tell me a little bit.
Sure. Well, I'm very excited about it. All this hard work that we've all been putting into it is, finally getting to that point where we could start training these veterans, start getting them out to the dealerships. So you guys know, we've looked at numbers. Right now, there's over 300,000 veterans actively looking for work, and a few million more that don't have work right now. So that opens up a huge opportunity for us to get them into the dealership that are and fully trained at that. What we've been doing is we've been, again, working with the associations and working with close groups that I've known in the past to get, the ideas started and start pushing out the word to veterans, so to get them started as soon as possible.
That's awesome. It's always amazing to see something constantly progress further and further and further along the way. I know. What are we looking for a launch date for this? Is what, January 6th, right?
January 6th is the official launch date. We're excited. It's just a few more weeks out, so we're ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. I know Richie was telling me before, you guys are starting to get dealers putting their requests in for training. As Richie did say, we have a number of top trainers in the industry that are coming on board. They're going to be doing the live training where they're going to be helping these veterans out. And as you said a couple of seconds ago, the number's really staggering of how many veterans out there who are, so there's something like 20 million active workforce veterans. Like you just said, there's 300 to 500,000, I believe, going into the workforce. That means they're coming off of deployment. They're coming off of their, they're retiring. These are people that have given so much that it's really a nod towards Richie that he donates his time and efforts towards going in and helping, the veterans, the men and women of our country, and especially yourself as well. You're a veteran, I'm a veteran, and it's always good to see our brothers and sisters in arms being helped out. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very happy that we can lend a hand, at least make that transition a bit easier for as many as we could. Yeah. Well, listen, again, buddy, we want to thank you for coming on today and giving us our weekly update. Guys, it's time to wrap up the show. We want to thank Mr. Brian Maxwell, as always, for coming on today. And we also like to thank Dave Castillo for joining us, and thank you all for sharing time today. This is Eric Nichols with your host, Mr. Richie Bello, saying see you next Wednesday live, guys.